You are watching Issues at Hand on Church of Uganda Family TV. Thank you for rejoining us. Of course, we had to interrupt normal programming because of the GAFCON press conference coming from the Archbishop. And I know many of us have been enlightened from that press conference. But now we are getting into Issues at Hand proper. Proudly brought to you by Protea Hotel in Tewe. My name is Timoheri Bruno Edgar, and today we're going to have interesting discussions on one advice from the Uganda police, if I should say so, when it comes to the responsibilities of landlords and tenants as far as the Landlord and Tenants Act is concerned. Then we're going to talk about land disputes and how what is police's role when it comes to land disputes. How can we report a land dispute, for instance? Then we're also going to talk about the traffic crisis in Uganda, specifically road accidents. We saw what happened over the Easter break. What can we do better? So that's what we are talking about today. Thank you for joining us. Now with me to discuss these issues is once again Afande Nathan Katumba, who is the Regional Community Liaison Officer from KMP East. Welcome back to Issues at Hand.
Thank you, moderator. ASP Nathan Katumba is my name, the Regional Community Liaison Officer of KMP East. KMP East entails our jurisdiction as per KMP East is concerned. We have 5 divisions.
That's Kampala Metropolitan East.
Yeah, that is Kampala Metropolitan East. It's comprised of 5 divisions. That is Chila Road, Chila Division, Nagalama, Mukono, Jinja Road. Yeah, basically that.
Indeed. And so recently as last year, we had the passing of the new Landlord and Tenants Act, and of course there's always been a bit of a rift between landlords and tenants. So what can you tell us about the duties and responsibilities that the Act prescribes that we need to know as either landlords or as tenants?
Thank you, my moderator. May I urge people out there, you fellow Ugandans, please respect the law. Respect the law. When the law says this, please don't be contrary to the law. When you be contrary to the law, you're breaking the what? You're breaking the law. So when the Act came out, it specifically specified how a landlord is supposed to, in case the landlord wants to reoccupy his house, what he has to do, what he has to follow to see that he occupies his house. And on contrary to that, tenants have become a little bit stubborn. Yes, when the landlord gets to follow what he has to do to regain his house, because the landlord, you're not just going to come out and begin telling the tenant that please leave my house. I need to reoccupy my house. There is a procedure. When you come out and you begin threatening a tenant to leave the house by force, you're breaking the law. You need to follow the right procedure to see how the tenant lawfully moves out of your house. And the tenant and the right procedure is mostly embedded it's mostly embedded with the chairman. The chairman has the right, yes, procedurally, to see how to help a landlord if the tenant if the landlord wants to reoccupy his house. It is very clear. The landlord, most chairpersons agree about the law, about the Landlord Tenants Act. Most of them cowardize. Landlords come out and they want help. Most chairpersons cowardize. Yes. And when you cowardize, that means you're failing to do your responsibilities as a chairman. I don't want to be caught off guard. I'm not saying that when they come to you as a chairman, you run and begin evicting someone. No, that is criminal. Yes, but you should advise the landlord on what to do to see that he gets equally justice, like the justice that the tenant would have got. So all chairpersons, we've tried to educate you in various meetings. When the landlords come, please advise them on what to do. you don't lose anything by writing to the tenant, telling him that in the next 2 or 3 months I will need my house. And in the next 2 or 3 months, there's nothing like a tenant refusing to pay because they have given him a duration. They have told him in the next 1 or 2 months I need my house. It is like the landlord is trying to tell you that in the next these months I will need my house. So prepare yourself. When it comes to issues of failure to pay, you're staying in someone's premise and you fail to pay, there is also procedure. You people, we are not doing well financially, but we need to harmonize. We need to harmonize our security in line with tenants. When you pay rent, you're harmonizing your security. Yes, you cannot live in someone's house and you're not paying. That is out of the law. You cannot live in someone's premise, because the contract between you and the landlord is money, unless otherwise, maybe if you had agreed on some other things in writing. But the contract between the landlord and tenant is payment of money, either monthly or quarterly, the way the tenant and the landlord agreed. So when you fail to pay, at the end of the day, you are indirectly terminating your contract between you and the what? Between you and the landlord. When you fail to pay, that means whatever you discussed with the landlord, whatever you committed yourself with the landlord, you're terminating, you're indirectly terminating your contract. And we have told tenants these things a lot, but they put a deaf ear. Someone says, if he wants to evict me, he will give me 4 months, he will give me 3 months. That is out of the law. It's not there. It is not there. They should not deceive you. When you're tired of living, when the landlord comes out and he tells you that I want my house, please prepare yourself. You're not going to refuse in the house. But the best alternative is if the chairperson can mediate the landlord and tenant, and they sit them down and they agree, and we don't get into these things of pulling ropes, it can help. But I want to inform the tenants out there that the Landlords and Tenants Act is very clear. It stipulates how a tenant can live, how the landlord can be helped in case he wants the tenant to leave. The chairperson has to have a committee of not less than 5 people. Yes, and we need to have the landlord. You need to write at least a letter to the tenant, informing him that I will need my house in this period. So the chairman will help you in accordance with what the Landlord and Tenants Act says. Thank you.
All right, that's a very good update on and advice on what we should do as landlords and as tenants, and let's keep within the purview of the law. Now, over the Easter period, I know we're here on Good Friday, and you gave us very good advice on how we can keep safe on the roads. But once again, unfortunately, we saw incidences of tragic accidents.
Yeah.
The biggest one was that family of 9 that passed away. Why again did we see incidences of accidents during the Easter period, and what now can we do, because it seems like the issue is getting out of hand when it comes to safety on the road?
Thank you, moderator. It was so unfortunate. May their souls rest in peace, our brothers and sisters out there. It was really so tragic. It was it was so bad. What we saw was so bad. But we've come out equally each and every day on TVs, on radios, sensitizing people on how you can be safe on the road. Please, if you may not like me, but get my advice. Yes, you may say, Afande, maybe you have some other issues with him or what, but you take what I'm telling you, because we are at the police stations, and we usually receive these cases. we may not come out of the blue and begin telling you of each and every case, but we've received accident cases where people are reckless. We've received accident cases where people get into people. We've received accidents which happen out of people's unconscious minds. Yes, people drink, people do what, people take life. People want to take life. People want to take their lives as if there is no tomorrow. Yes, you're carrying a family of over 12 people, 10 people. Why should you overspeed? Even if you are alone, why should you overspeed? Yes, why should you overspeed? At the end of the day, you know what overspeeding can do. You might not even find any other vehicle in front, but you may move off the road. You may move off the road and you die. Let's try to be conscious of our lives. When you're traveling, please put all your minds on the road. These issues of you're driving, someone has called you, you're talking on phone, you're driving, you're trying to distort your mind. At the end of the day, all your minds are going to be focused on what you're saying on phone. Then you'll forget that you're on the road, and you're going to enter. You'll enter the vehicle that is in front. You're going to move off the road. So overspeeding, when usually we have traffic on the road, but sometimes there's certain points where, like this, sometimes the turns where people turn. Sometimes it's that those points are usually a bit tricky. You end up turning, not knowing what is in front. Let's remain on our lane. When you remain on your lane and you're not overspeeding, it will help. When someone comes and is overspeeding and is joining your lane, it is very easy to control your vehicle. But if you're overspeeding in your lane and the other person comes in a different lane, wanting to join your lane, at the end of the day, it will be very hard for you to control the vehicle. But if you're driving, if you're not overspeeding and someone enters your lane, it is very easy to control the vehicle and it passes by. When you're caught overspeeding, we shall charge you. We can either charge you. You can either go to court or pay a fine, and you go to court. You will pay. We have express penalty receipts. You will pay 300,000, or you can either pay or you go to court. Yes, so please be conscious on the road. We are here to protect life and property. We are not going to work in Uganda where people are dying every day, and yet our duty is to protect what? To protect life and their property. So let's be conscious on the road. Yes, let's respect traffic rules and regulations, please, and please, I beg you, please, Ugandans, let's respect traffic rules and regulations so that we can tomorrow prosper, so that tomorrow we don't want a situation where a bread earner loses his life and the seedlings begin suffering. We begin coming out there, so and so's kids need school fees, yet someone can be conscious on the road and take care of his family. Thank you.
All right, that's fantastic, and it's pivotal that we continue, that Uganda Police continues to sensitize us. If there are also other forms in which we can get more sensitization, either via online or via text message, where we get tidbits about road safety and how we can keep ourselves safe on the road, that will also be good.
Yeah, we shall.
So
we
that
shall see that.
We can have a list of things, for instance, that we can follow up when it comes to road safety. Now, talking about safety, something that is keeping a lot of people awake at night is land disputes. We have a lot of land disputes in Uganda between siblings, between companies and landowners, and if you ask me, the courts are very congested with such land cases that do not come to an end, and in many scenarios you have police involved, the army involved, and it has become so much katogo. But in case someone is having a land dispute or any questions about a particular land, for instance, if someone's land was sold without his or her knowing, or if someone went and bought land and the person who sold him the land was not the actual person who was supposed to sell him the land, how can that person get any recompense? Especially, how does that person come and report to Uganda police about the matter?
Thank you, moderator. 80% of land cases are civil matters, most of them. But there are a few criminal, the ones that are in line with criminal proceedings. And the ones that are in line with criminal proceedings, that is when we come in as police to see how to help our people out there. Usually, we have a lands desk at all big stations. All big stations, we have specific land desks where we have expertise. There are people who have expertise in handling lands. These cases of land specifically. That is why when someone comes at the police and you explain to us your issue, we tell you, please, you go to the lands desk, room this, and give in your report. I've seen people out there who come at police complaining about land when he has nothing like any document entailing the land that is in question. Please, brothers and sisters, fellow comrades out there, when you come to police to report a lands desk, you must have something evidential that shows that you're complaining about the said land. It will be so unfortunate you come, you're shedding tears, and we tell you we need to have evidence on what you're talking about. There are certain incidents where we shall react. We shall book out on information and we shall go to the scene where we are having a conflict. But we shall react in line with your query on the same. But after going on ground, you will come back to police and give us evidence that shows that you are attached to that land. We can react and we block. Maybe if there is a grader, we block to prevent a crime from happening. Yes, then we shall invite parties to come and you get us your evidence that shows that you have. What I know with land, if you want, if possession of land, you need to have papers. Yes, you need to have papers if you are to possess land. Someone asked me a question someday. He called me, was like, Afande, my father, we had land in the village, but at the trading center. When my dad was not feeling well, yes, he decided to write, he consented and gave the land to the church. He consented and gave the land to the church. We are his children, we are lacking necessities, but how can we repossess our land? I equally advised him. I told him, if your dad consented to giving out land, yes, he agreed, and because if it is my land, I have the right to give it to you. I can give you the land. It can be in writing. It can be where people are there and I consent and say, I've given these people the land. So at the end of the day, you might not do much as the son of the deceased. And then he was like, Afande, my father was not well by the time he gave out that land. That can tantamount to investigations. But when someone has passed on for some years, it might be a little bit tricky. It is usually easier if someone there and then is not well and they want to force him to what? They want to force him to consent to giving out land. That is criminal. You cannot consent to a mine that is not well in distribution of any asset. Someone has to have a right mind, yes, to do any transaction. So if someone is too old, if someone is sick, if someone is not well, someone cannot force him to make an agreement of anything. So if it happens that someone has been forced or someone is being forced to do that, you go to police and report a case. Yes, that they are forcing my father, they are forcing my mother to consent on a document, and yet mom, dad is not well. As police, we shall come in and investigate. So let's be conscious. We have had various problems in issues of land. Please, let's be conscious. Whenever you feel you have something that you feel needs attention of police in issues of land, please, you come to police, go to any police, go and meet the divisional police commander, the DPC. Yes, the DPC will intervene in your matters. The DPC will get a team that will see how to handle the matters well. Go and meet the OCCID of the district. Yes, go and meet the OCCID. You can equally go to the RDC. You can go to the RDC and you tell him your issue. The RDC will constitute a team. The RDC will get into contact with the DPC, and they see how the issue. Let's not wait. Let's not sit back out there. You sit back. At the end of the day, the land is grabbed. Then after grabbing the land, someone has begun constructing. Then again, you begin coming to police. It might be a little bit hard. Let's repossess our land when we still have a chance of complaining, when we still have a chance of being listened to. Yes, let's come to police.
And let's do it legally. Afande, we'll have to end it. We'll have to end it there. That was a quick fire session, but thank you for coming and addressing those key concerns when it comes to matters security. Thank you so much for joining us in Issues at Hand today. We shall return on Monday. For now, enjoy your weekend and enjoy the rest of the programming here on Church of Uganda Family TV.